Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 17 of the Constant Ditto Agreement podcast, where we have ditto agreement with consonality. Today, we are joined by Michael Nigerian, Justin Long, and Andrew Batten, live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Justin Long, his, I believe, third different location since we have started recording. Boston, Massachusetts for Mr. Nigerian, somewhere in Maryland for Andrew, and Richmond, Virginia for myself. Anyway, so the big news of the day today happened a few hours ago. The Orioles acquiring Blade Alexander from the Arizona Diamondbacks in exchange for a package that, for our sake, was headlined by Kade Strowd, a relief pitcher who pitched quite nicely over 26 innings last year, along with two prospect Wellington Arastena, who was ranked number 29 in the Orioles system. He was a part of the deadline. He came over from the Mets, believe in the Star Anthony, or not Dominguez, must have been the Mullen trade then, or Soto, one of the
So
two.
It
Soto,
was Soto.
All right, my bad. So he came over from the Gregory Soto trade, but we flipped him for Blade Alexander. And I think the initial reaction from all of us was confusion. Fair to say, similar to the Shane Bond move, not really a move we saw coming at any point. And I think it's especially sort of head scratching because you feel like the biggest need for the Orioles at this point in time is bullpen help. You know, you have Ryan Helsley, who you signed in the offseason, you have Andrew Kittredge. But outside of that, I think a lot of people are sort of expecting Kade Strowd to take on a fairly significant role this upcoming season in that bullpen with the numbers he put up last year and just the lack of other options. Maybe Tyler Wells in there, Rico Garcia, guys like that can step up. But without Stroud, there definitely is a hole in the bullpen that you very much think will have to be filled before opening day. And with Blades Alexander, you bring in sort of a super utility piece, a guy who we were trying to sort of fill that role with a couple of waiver signings. Weston Wilson was one of them, a guy who we picked up off of waiver, but then sort of DFA'd, and he might be out of the organization altogether now. But ultimately, Alexander brings you stability with that sort of super utility role. He can play a lot of different defensive positions and can play it well, both in the infield and the outfield, which is something that the Orioles were missing with Ramon Urias gone and Jorge Mateo gone. Sort of the role that they've filled the past couple of years will be filled by Alexander, a guy you can plug in the infield, in the outfield. He can steal bases for you. Really good defender, but not going to take away a starting role from Jordan Westburg, Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holiday, nor from Taylor Ward or Dylan Beaver, Tyler O'Neill, anything like that. But injuries always happen. So I'll start with Andrew. It's been a few weeks since he's been on the podcast. What sort of your, outside the initial reaction of maybe confusion, which I think we all had, what are you feeling right now about 5 or 6 hours after the trade was announced about the Blade Alexander for Kade Strowd deal?
yeah, and again, thanks for the for having me back. It's good to be back. Yeah, I'm not feeling much. I think there was the initial feeling of confusion and wanting to know the reasons behind it. I mean, it was funny, in our group chat earlier today, we were talking about how the Orioles bullpen is really lacking, and that Kade Strowd, like you said, Cam, is going to need to be counted on to perform as a seventh, maybe even an eighth inning guy. So to see him traded was surprising. To see them bring in another infielder, even someone who is intriguing like Blaze Alexander, and I do think he's an intriguing player, power speed combo, versatile, good defender. Certainly not a bad player in a vacuum, but ultimately it's a minor trade. It's going to be looked at as a minor trade, this season and down the road. I think Blaze Alexander, he's a capable fill-in if one of the infielders gets injured. He might get some starts in center field against tough lefties over Colton Cowser. He might start in the outfield if Tyler O'Neill is eventually injured. But at the end of the day, the Orioles traded a reliever who we liked, a reliever who had some prospect pedigree in Wellington Arcena, and an infielder who is probably not going to really make many waves here for, a jack of all trades guy who has some potential. I don't feel very strongly about it either way. I was looking forward, personally, I was looking forward to seeing how Kade Strowd would do this year. So I'll probably be monitoring how he does in Arizona. But ultimately, it's not a big needle mover. I think that the biggest question is, what now? What does this mean? What are the Orioles going to do with all this depth? Because, they already have Ryan Mountcastle and Kobe Mayo on the bench right now, as right-handed hitting power bats. Blaze Alexander, a little more versatile than them, as he can play the outfield. He plays second, he plays third. But another right-handed hitting power bat for the bench, Jeremiah Jackson, right-handed hitter who a lot of us thought had a good chance of breaking camp with the team as the utility guys. It's just odd roster construction by Mike Elias right now. But with spring training, pitchers and catchers reporting in a little over a week, I think the Orioles are not even close to done for shaping their roster. And the Blaze Alexander move, I think it'll make more sense in the next couple of weeks. But as of now, just very confused.
Justin?
Yeah, I think my initial reaction was I was definitely disappointed because I think me and maybe Andrew have been the biggest fans of Kade Strowd on this podcast or in our group chat at least. Like, I really like Stroud. I think he has good stuff, and I liked that, like, down the stretch last year, we saw him adding pitches. Like, he originally was kind of just he relied on his cutter, and then he was a bunch of breaking balls. And then he added a two-seam fastball because all of his pitches were going right to left. And so he had the two-seamer to get that different kind of like movement profile, which he didn't have. And you could see that hitters just like had no clue how to, like, they really struggled against him. Like, I think he has really good stuff. And Cam mentioned that like his command is pretty poor. He did have walk issues at times. Like, I remember there were a couple of outings where he, like that one in Boston where he walked the bases loaded and then Rico Garcia somehow got him out of it with like no outs and bases loaded or something. So, maybe we're overreacting because Kade Strowd ultimately is a guy who has like 25 major league innings. But I was disappointed to see him go, especially because of like the lack of bullpen arms. I'm not very confident in a lot of our guys. And so I think Strowd was at least someone that I viewed as a potential high upside arm. But kind of similarly to like the Taylor Ward, Grayson Rodriguez trade, I feel like already I'm starting to understand it a little more. Like, I really hated that trade initially, and I'm still not happy about that trade. But over time, it kind of grew on me, and I started to get it a little more. I think already I'm understanding the Blaze Alexander move, especially because I think when you look at this team, a lot of people had penciled in Jeremiah Jackson as that utility guy. And I didn't understand that because I feel like your utility guy needs to be a good defender. Jeremiah Jackson did not show that he was a good defender at all. He swung it very well, but I think they really did need a right-handed utility bat, and it feels weird to give up two prospects and a potentially good reliever for that. But I don't know. Alexander's got like 4 or 5 years of control, and he's shown upside. Apparently, he's a good locker room guy. It seems like Arizona fans are really upset about the move, so that kind of does make me feel better in some ways because at least it's not like they're feeling super confident about the moves themselves. But yeah, I don't know. I think generally I'm disappointed, but it probably isn't a move that's going to make that big of a difference in the long run. And I do understand it. I think it was a need, and I think it was something that needed to be addressed before the offseason ended.
All right, so I got from Andrew that this is a minor move. I got from Justin this move will not move the needle. Michael, bring it home. Keep the listeners engaged.
Yeah, I think in kind of echoing what Andrew and Justin said, in the grand scheme of things, probably doesn't matter a whole lot. But it is perplexing that you're trading for a guy who in 135 games has a slash line of 237, 322, 366. And you're giving up, Mejia doesn't, that's not going to move the needle for me at all. Like, he really wasn't that great in rookie ball. Aracena was a good pitcher looking at his stats, but again, was only playing as far up as high A. And you're also giving up Kade Strowd for Blaze Alexander too. Kade Strowd, you guys know, you've heard me every single episode this offseason beating the drum about how, it's bullpen. Like, they need to add to the bullpen. They need to look at this guy, that guy, the other guy, because they need another reliever. So I don't understand why you're trading a guy like Kade Strowd, who was nothing short of dominant down the stretch for the Orioles, really establishing himself as a clear-cut bullpen option for 2026 in a second half that became, tryouts for 2026 for the guys that were left on the team. Kade Strowd, I think, did perfect, did enough to establish himself as a very dependable bullpen option for 2026. Obviously didn't pitch enough innings to be qualified for a lot of stuff in baseball savant, but if you look at it, it's a lot of it is projected to be red, like hard hit percentage, ground ball percentage, expected batting average, chase rate, expected ERA, and the actual stats were good. ERA 171, whip 1.1. The FIP was a little high. The FIP didn't like him very much. It's because he walked 13 hitters in 26 innings, which, that's not a great thing. But trading a guy who burst onto the scene and looked nasty last year, the prospects don't really mean much for me. You can trade those for Blaze out. You can trade Aracena and Mejia for Blaze Alexander, no problem. But tossing in a guy like Kade Strowd for a utility player at best, that's what he's shown in the limited major league time that he's had over 2 years. That's where, start to lose me with this. Like that doesn't make a ton of sense to me at all. You need bullpen help any way you can get it. There's not a lot of quality options left on the market, guys that are going to move the needle. So it doesn't make sense to me to trade somebody who was going to be a key middle relief option in that bullpen for a utility player at best, who doesn't offer a ton of offense. Defense is fine, but doesn't offer a ton of offense.
Yeah, I can get behind all those points, and I think I'd feel a lot better about the trade if it was like one of those, which I feel a little more of like maybe what the Great Rodriguez trade was, or even Shane Bond, and kind of you're trading from your surplus for another team surplus. I mean, if Kade Strowd was a luxury and not someone that we were likely going to rely on, then I think I would feel a lot better about the trade too. But yeah, no, I mean, my opinion with a lot of things that Michael Elias does, especially in the offseason, is usually like I can see the reasoning, I can understand what the move is coming from, and I think for the most part, a lot of the I think Elias does a really good job building a farm system, building all that. But, when it comes to the trade, he's made a few really good trades. We've echoed it a lot. Corbin Burns, obviously, that's kind of the one that we look at it like a trade that I think he actually went out and did something. But other than that, I think, there's a lot of projectability and there's a lot of hoping for the best. This is one of their trades where, Kade Strowd is going to be a middle reliever for the Diamondbacks, so to be quite honest, I'm going to forget about him. I'm not paying a ton of attention to the relief pitcher in Arizona throughout the course of the regular season. But if he continued to do what he did last year and continued to be a really good relief pitcher with like an ERA in the two, and it's helping the Diamondbacks win games. I mean, they're also going to try to compete for a playoff spot this upcoming season. I don't think that would be a huge surprise. And if it's kind of the same situation we ran into last year, where we're just desperate for anyone that can get us through games, and you're like, well, we could have really used Kade Strowd, or we could have really used, anyone. Like, I think not just Stroud. I think there are other guys that you're kind of, guys you didn't get. Like, you didn't get Anthony Dominguez back. You didn't really do anything at least up to that point with the bullpen and free agency other than, Helsley and Kittredge. But, I mean, Helsley was like a closer. We needed a closer. And, Kittredge is a fine addition, but that alone doesn't make our bullpen that great. I think.
And Kittredge, that was a trade. That wasn't even.
Yeah. No, I know. It was a trade, not free agency, but we traded him for cash consideration for
And they
intent.
picked up his option, which was $9 million. So it's kind of the equivalent of that's like a solid free agent signing right there. They had to pay him a decent chunk of money. So
yeah, I mean, for all intent and purposes, it kind of was a free agency just because we didn't give up anything other than money. But yeah, no, I understand. He would trade from the Cubs, not a free agent. I understand that. But regardless, I just feel like I don't want to say the Orioles bullpen got worse this offseason, because I don't think it did. But at least up to this point, it hadn't gotten a whole lot better. Especially, I mean, when you compare it to pre-trade deadline last year, you'd probably consider it worse than it was pre-trade deadline last year. You no longer have Soto, you no longer have Dominguez, and now you no longer have Kade Strowd, who is not really a factor before the deadline, but he was there. And you feel like Bautista's hurt, which I mean, obviously Yanier Cano is not what he used to be. you're sort of, I think the bullpen, there's a lot of hoping there. And, I think to some extent, we brought guys in last year, even at the end of the season last year, like Kade Strowd, who we didn't know much about, ended up being, good relief pitcher for us. I think you can throw Dietrich Enns in that category. You can throw Rico Garcia in that category. Guys that you didn't know much about, but you brought in and they did good stuff. But it's like, at some point, you do need to bring in guys other than the two that we've named that we kind of know can get out. Because, Helsley, as I've mentioned before, really struggled at the end of last season with New York. I mean, if that version of Ryan Helsley shows up to Baltimore this year, then it's like, how are you getting through games? How are you getting 20 or 24 outs every night? And for a team that feels very much like they're pushing their cards in for the season, like the bullpen is just such a glaring hole right now. And I know there's still time in the offseason, but I'm getting to the point where it's like, I don't think we make another major move for the bullpen. I think we can have our dreams of, maybe trading for Adrian Morejon or signing Danny Coulomb or, stuff like that. But, if the rest we do this offseason just waiver claim after waiver claim and just hoping guys stick, wouldn't shock me. And I don't think that's a good model going into the season, especially, and we'll talk about it a little later, without, picking up that eighth this offseason. I think, even if we get Zach Gallen in free agency, I don't think he's an eighth. Like, I think he's a really good pitcher, but he's coming off a 1.8 WAR season, 4 point something ERA. Like, I don't think you can say with certainty that Gallen's going to come in and pitch lights out if we get him, which I have my doubt that would happen. You're kind of at a point where it's like the pitching rotation. I mean, I think the bullpen right now is not like it's in a pretty even or worse state than it was last year around this time and like pre-deadline. And I think the rotation hasn't gotten significantly better to the point that I feel confident that, we'll be able to score more runs than the other team every game, which is how you win baseball games. I think the lineup, I like the depth we're building with the lineup. I think the lineup 1 through 9 without injury can compete with anybody. But I also like that with injuries, if we get a few injuries like Tyler O'Neill, for example, we have guys that I feel fairly comfortable in plugging in, like Blade Alexander, like, Ryan Mountcastle maybe will be like sort of a depth guy. Um, guys that I feel like won't be just complete albatrosses in our lineup, which we had a fair share of those last year, like Louis Badked. And after the deadline, there were just, we had Jordan Adam playing center field, Greg Allen playing center field. I feel confident that we won't have a situation like that. I feel good enough about the depth we've built in the lineup, and I think Blake Alexander certainly helped with that. I think if we didn't get a guy like Blake Alexander, then it's like, if Gunnar gets hurt, then who's your shortstop? I mean, maybe Wetberg, and like have Jeremiah Jackson play third. But no, I think from that perspective, I get it. But I am a bit frustrated with the pitching management here. Like you need pitcher to win, and and I just right now I don't feel very confident with the pitching staff we have. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything to that.
Well, Cam, you feel comfortable about the center field depth, but for those who remember last episode, Justin does not feel confident about the center field depth.
No, I don't at all. And
Does
actually,
Blake Alexander change that?
he's played like 3 games in the outfield, so like not really. That's the other thing. Like he is a utility guy, and I'm my guess is that they feel confident in his center field ability, because I really do. Like I remember there being reports earlier in the offseason too that like they were gonna target another like right-handed center field option. So I have a feeling they probably feel comfortable being able to put him in center field. But yeah, I did not like our other options in center field. I made that very well known on one of the other podcasts. So I guess this is to be seen, because maybe like I'm kind of worried that Blaze Alexander, like what if he ends up being similar to Mateo's defense in center field, where it's like he's a really good infield defender, and then you put him in center field because he's fast, and then you're like, oh shit, this guy can't actually play center field. We're just putting him there because he's a good athlete. Like I hope it's not like that. And I have seen a lot of Diamondbacks fans saying that they really like he's a baller, like he's a ball player. Like Like I saw him robbing a home run in left field. Like this is a guy that's like you can kind of put him all over the place and he's gonna figure it out. But I don't love that the lack of experience there. But I did want to say, Cam, I do think the rotation's in a much better spot now. And I've been in our group chat at least, like I genuinely think like I'm gonna be disappointed if they don't add another like top flight starter. And it's starting to seem like they're not gonna do that because maybe you get Gallon, but I don't really think Gallon's gonna happen because I don't see Elias wanting to sacrifice a pick for Gallon. And because he's attached to the qualifying offer, I don't. That just seems like one of those ones where we're gonna end up finding out, oh, they were interested, which we already know actually that they are interested, but it's not actually gonna happen.
Was Pete Alonso a qualifying offer player?
Yeah.
I think-
Oh no, he couldn't be.
Because it was 2 years in a row, I think,
Yep,
right?
you can't do it 2 years.
Was he
in a row.
one last year?
Yeah, and the Mets,
Yep.
kept them.
Yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. Because they lost their traded their highest competitive balance pick, right, for Boz.
Yeah.
So then,
Yeah.
if they signed Valdez or
It would have been
Allen,
the second. It would have been the next one.
yeah, which I think was it a third round compensatory?
It might have been. Yeah.
I can't remember, but yeah, Gallon. So many people. I would like Gallon. I would, but I don't see it happening. But either way, I do think the rotation's in a better spot than it was at the beginning of last year, right? Like Grayson got hurt in spring training, so our rotation to start the year was what? It was Eflin, it was Tomo, it was Charlie Morton.
Morton was number 2.
Kramer and Cade Povich.
Kramer, and then was Cade in the rotation?
It was
to start the year?
Povich. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean,
Because Bradish and Grayson were down.
yeah, and Trevor Rogers was hurt too because he sustained that injury in spring training and didn't get going.
Yeah, and at the time he was still bad too. Like
yeah,
really...
right. So now you look at it, and it's like I think Kyle Bradish can genuinely, like, maybe this is just my Orioles bias, but like I think Kyle Bradish can be like a Cy Young contender. Like he's done it before. Like I think he's that good. And then Trevor Rogers, and then you have Boz, and then you have Eflin and Dean, and then guys like Tyler Wells and Povich in there. I feel way more confident in that group. I still think when you look at our division, it needs to be better. But I do think that is a substantial upgrade from what we had at the beginning of last season. Like, I trust this way more. I think it's way higher upside. I think our offseason was killed last year as soon as we signed Charlie Morton, pretty much. Like, it just ruined everything. And then they followed that up by signing 38-year-old Tomoyuki Sagano or whatever, or 35-year-old. Like, it just... We're in a better spot now. I still definitely think we need to get... I know we're going to talk about this more with the Valdez situation, but I just wanted to point that out, that I do think we're in a way better spot with the rotation.
Yeah, I just want to chime in on a couple of things. So first of all, to get back to what Cam was saying, if the Orioles are a team that sees themselves as being competitive this year, they need to improve the bullpen. And it's slim pickings right now in the free agent market. I was beating the Luke Weaver drum earlier in the offseason. I thought he made a lot of sense. I mean, at this point, I really think the team needs to try to reconcile with Danny Coulomb. Dietrich Enns had a nice run at the end of last year, but I think counting on him to be an important bullpen arm is foolish. I think Keegan Aiken was decent last year. He kind of was, just by default, became like the leader of the bullpen, but he still could be a guy who he was optioned, I think, in 2023 and 2024 and stayed up last year because of necessity. So the Orioles really need to add another lefty. I think they need to correct the mistake they made last year of not keeping Danny Coulomb. I also think that Tyler Wells is such a unique player coming into spring training because one of you guys said, and it was a good point, that who's going to get outs for this team? How are they going to piece together 9 innings? Tyler Wells could be a guy who is kind of like a bridge between the starter to get to Kittredge and to get to Ryan Helsley, where he might be able to pitch the 6th or 7th inning, or he might be able to be a longman who comes in to stop the bleeding, or he might be a guy like he was in 2024 down the stretch in the playoffs, or 2023, where he pitched high leverage innings, in the 7th, 8th inning, maybe faced 1 or 2 batters. So I think Tyler Wells might be one of the most interesting people on the Orioles in the Orioles pitching staff right now, because we really don't know, if Zach Eflin can't start the year in the rotation, and I think that's up in the air right now, Tyler Wells might be your 5th starter. but Tyler Wells could also be your second best reliever. And if Helsley struggles, he could be your best reliever. And we've seen flashes of absolute brilliance from him out of the bullpen. So absolutely think the Orioles need to go out and get another reliever or two. But I think Tyler Wells is going to be someone that's counted on to get outside of that bullpen, and they're going to absolutely need that if they want to be competitive this year.
I'm a huge Tyler Wells fan,
Yeah, me
and
too.
I think trading away Stroud probably is a boost in the confidence in Tyler Wells, would be my guess. For Michael Elias, and saying that I think Wells can be. I don't think we're going to use him as a long man. I think if we have a long man coming out of spring training, probably going to be Albert Flores, maybe Cade Povich. But I think Tyler Wells, when we first got him in the Rule 5 draft, he was a reliever. I think in 2021, the year that we were just an albatross, an embarrassment of a baseball team. But even then, as a guy who never really pitched above high A, Tyler Wells was a good relief pitcher for us. Inconsistent, as you would expect someone who, as I said, never pitched above high A. But
I remember injuries got him in 21. I think he was pitching really well as, yeah, a seventh, eighth inning guy to come in for a big strikeout, and then he'd get hurt. And it was the same thing. Sorry to cut you off, Kim. I mean, it was the same thing, as a starter. He was a terrific starter for the Orioles in, I think, either 23 or 24 heading into the All-Star break. And then all of a sudden the wheels fell off and we find out he's out for the rest of the year. So they need to find a way to keep him healthy. And maybe that is just keeping him in the bullpen the whole year with an assigned role.
yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the role for Wells. I think I don't know in the modern era of baseball how much other than the closer there are truly defined roles like there used to be. I think things are getting a little murkier in that sense, especially with analytic ball, which Michael Elias is sort of a subscriber of, and I would imagine with the new coaching staff, Craig Albernaud being sort of coming from Cleveland and being in that camp, I imagine it's going to be more of you're going to bring in the guy who can get you the important out at that moment. At least that, in my opinion, how it should be, how you should construct a bullpen. And I think the two guys outside of Helmsley that I really trust to come in key situations right now that we have are Tyler Wells and Andrew Kittredge. I don't think there's a lefty right now that I trust for that. Keegan Aiken is not good in high leverage situations. That's been a thing for him for years, and that he can pitch. I mean, he pitches great in low leverage situations, but as the leverage gets higher, the worse he gets. He gave up that walk off homer in Chicago right after the trade deadline. As soon as he was thrust into the closer. What?
He's weirdly good at getting out of jams, with runners on base. But then last year they kept making the mistake of putting him in the next inning when it was still a close game, and then he'd blow it. I remember for the majority of the season, he stranded 24 out of 25 runners or something. But then they'd keep him in, it would be the seventh inning in a 5-4 game, and he'd strand two runners, and then they'd run him back out in the eighth inning, and he'd immediately give up a home run or two home runs or something like that. So
Yeah.
it was just weird. Sorry, I just wanted to say that because there were so many times where that happened to him last year, where it was he couldn't get saves. If you tried to have him get a save, you knew he was going to blow it. But you put him in with bases loaded and one out, and he'd find a way to wiggle his way. It was weird, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, to that point, I think Aiken is another guy that, as you said, I think for one inning at a time, I don't necessarily just trust him or put him in situations where it's not high leverage. If we're up 6-2 in a game in the sixth inning, then I'm fine with putting Keegan Aiken in there. I don't think we're going to blow a 6-2 lead with him out there. I don't know if I can say the same about Yanier Cano or even going back to last year, Corbin Martin, guys like that who you'd put in situations like that, and then all of a sudden, it's 6-5. If you put Keegan Aiken in a game that you're ahead comfortably or behind comfortably, which I'm sure there'll be plenty of that this season. I hope not too much, but it will happen. I feel fine with Aiken getting innings and eating 2 innings at a time. He can do in games that are kind of decided, which is valuable. You need someone to get those out, and I think Aiken can be that guy. Dietrich Ends, I think, is fine, but I'd feel a lot better if we had a true lefty that we could really feel comfortable with. And yeah, I mean the bullpen without Kade Strowd it got worse. And we picked up Han Kraut off of waivers a couple weeks ago, but he's been injured. I don't
Needle mover right there.
I mean, sometimes the guys you pick up in waivers and don't even realize you picked them up in the middle of January do become like needle movers.
One of
I mean,
these
Danny
guys is
Coulomb
going
was
to
kind
end
of
up
like that.
being
What?
good for us. One of these guys is going to end, like, we're not going to think of it all, and they're going to end up being, like, staples of the bullpen. Like, it happens, like, with every team every year.
Yeah, it does. Remember Austin Voth? Remember Austin Voth in
Yeah,
22?
right. Austin Voth threw, like, 120 innings for us as
was
a
nasty.
long man reliever, and
then in 23 he
spot
was
starter.
awful and cut
Yeah.
within a month.
Yeah. And I mean, even like, Ramon Urias, he was kind of an afterthought, waiver wire guy, didn't even make a big league debut before the Cardinals just DFA'd him, and we picked him up like right before the season started in 2020, I believe. And, we saw what he ended up being.
Yeah. I also just randomly was looking up some of Keegan Aiken's splits, and I thought this was really funny.
Boy.
He has, in the 8th inning last year, he had a 1 ERA. In the 9th inning, he had a 4.11. And then in extra innings, he had a 22.5 ERA. He gave up 7 runs
How many
in 2
walk-offs has
innings.
Keegan Aiken given up?
Exactly.
I mean, I feel like
That's
too many.
It's like
Too many.
Like every brutal loss that the Orioles have, it's like Keegan Aiken throwing.
Keegan Aiken's on the mound. Yeah.
Tyler O'Neill had it against him like 2 years ago when he was on the Red Sox, like a brutal walk-off.
Yeah.
I remember that home run too.
Yeah.
I remember that home run.
Well,
They just kept throwing Aiken out there in like tie games in extra inning.
that the Ryan McKenna game?
No. That was
McKenna was 23.
And that was Duvall who hit the walk off that
off
game.
of-
Right?
Yeah, that was Adam Duvall. Yeah.
Bautista, yeah.
Yeah,
That was
off Bautista.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Felix.
It was like 100 at the knees, and he just like slaps it over the monster.
Yeah.
Justin, there have been like 4 sporting events in my life that, since I've been able to drive, that I've gotten so angry at the result of that I needed to just go for like a 20-minute drive to clear my head. That was one of them.
Yeah, that was a bad game. That was like wasn't that the opening series of the
Yep, second game.
Yes, it was.
It was the second game, I think, against Boston.
April 2023, Adam Duvall is like a folk here. Red Sox fans aren't talking about that enough. April 2023, Adam Duvall was incredible.
Yeah.
But I piggybacking off of everyone's discussions about the bullpen, I am fine. I am so happy that everyone is finally talking about how much of an issue the
I think we
current
all
state of the
agreed-
bullpen is.
I think we all agreed it was an issue.
Yes, I think I was the only one. I think I was the only one who was like aggressively like pushing it all off.
Well, I think we all agreed that the bullpen was an issue, but I think we all also agreed that it was an issue that would be addressed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think by
And I
now
think-
we
And
all
to-
thought
we also
some-
put more
to this
focus on
point,
rotation.
though, it hasn't
That's
been
it.
addressed.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
the
think
Orioles
that's
failed
the
to add
issue
an
we're
ace
having here,
for
that
addressing the bullpen.
we all went into the offseason, and I think we just kind of assumed, maybe naively, that after we traded away Anthony Dominguez, Gregory Soto, and Andrew Kittredge at the deadline last year and threw out, Barney and Fred to finish game.
Grant Wolfram, Brandon Young.
That's
Like-
what I'm
Roberto
about.
Ramirez.
But like,
Yep,
you know
Yermil
what I mean?
Geraldo.
Yermil Geraldo, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Remember his
after we
name.
were after we were going through the last 2 months of the season, going through the motion, like I think even then, like I feel like everyone kind of had this like understanding of like this is not what the bullpen's going to look like next year, and to the
Yeah.
credit, it's not one of the good pitchers
And they're-
that out of that bullpen had gone.
And their
So-
first big move in quotes, was getting Kittredge. We're like, all right, like Elias recognizes the need to get the bullpen back together.
Yeah, it was
literally it.
Kittredge. Yeah, it was Kittredge, and then it was Helsley, and we were
Helsley,
like,
yeah.
all right, like here we go, and then
I mean,
nothing.
Brian,
Like-
like young children, could recognize that the bullpen is a need. Like
Yeah, I mean,
And
like,
trade Kade Strowd.
yeah, like Keegan Aiken. I've been saying it all off season. Keegan Aiken cannot be your top left-hander. Like, I don't know what they did
Good thing
to
we have
Danny
Dietrich
Coulomb.
Enns,
I don't
so-
know what they did to Danny Coulomb that like makes them so allergic to even consider signing him. But like, you can't tell me that he wouldn't be an upgrade over Keegan Aiken. Like,
I mean,
Justin
and
Wilson is still out there. Like, he's a good left-hander. He would be an upgrade over Keegan Aiken.
I mean,
Like, and
fairness-
even righties now after trading Stroud, like you could use a righty or two, and even I don't know.
Use a righty before trading Strowd.
Yeah, absolutely. So like now you need another one, and honestly,
Rico Garcia is gonna be called upon to get them out of a lot of jams next year.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know why. This is probably also partially on me for not talking about this guy enough. Another lefty option who's still out there is Andrew Chafin, who was really good last year for the Nats and the Angels.
I feel like admittedly, like at least half the teams in the league by now.
Yeah, he's pitched for so many teams, but he was really good last year. Like, you can't tell me that wouldn't be an upgrade over Keegan Aiken. Like,
though? I don't know if
he was very 2.44 ERA.
Does anyone know if Donnie Hart
sub-2 with the Angels?
I know, but it's like
you say Donnie Hart.
Yeah,
Chafin is like you said, like he's traded and DFA'd. He's on a million teams every year, and it's like at that point, like Chafin does not move me. I think they made a mistake by not landing another one of the big free agent relief names earlier on in the offseason. I think now a lot of the guys you're going to get are like going to be very marginal upgrades. Like the last one, I can't remember who mentioned it. That I think could be like a real top end of the or back end of the bullpen guy would be Kopech, just because of how good his stuff is. But even then, it's like he has so many injury issues. But like
he has command issues. I mean,
command issues. He's nasty. Like he throws 101, but I don't know. Like I don't know.
I mentioned him in our chat earlier, and he's going to cost a lot of money. I mean, who knows what the Orioles are going to do with their money they quote unquote saved from not paying Valdez? Like, are they just going to not spend it, or are they going to get a Gallon and then get one or two relievers? I mean, again, Luke Weaver and Danny Coulomb were the people that I was really targeting for the bullpen. I think Weaver would have been perfect eighth inning guy to help. Yeah, Kittredge should not be an eighth inning guy. He's a solid seventh inning guy.
I agree.
I think Weaver would have been good. I think Brad Keller would have been good. I think even like if they had gotten Helsley and like a Devin Williams. I mean, Devin Williams got paid a lot, but like Michael was talking about this before, like Pete Fairbanks when he was available. Like I think if they had done two of those, then that would. But now I look at the bullpen options, and I don't like. Would I be mad if we added, Justin Wilson, and I don't even know who another right-handed reliever on the market is right now, other than
Kopech.
Is there anyone else that you guys like?
I'm looking it up right now.
Nobody. Evan Phillips is on the market, but like
he's gonna be out the entire year. Yeah, he got Tommy John or something. He's out the entire year.
Paul Sewell is on the like that.
I don't even
thought of him in ages.
Yeah, like, but that's the thing. It's like I don't think you're gonna find any real upgrades now, and so I kind of think they.
Oh, Liam Hendricks! I forgot about Liam Hendricks, but he also wasn't all that great. So
like that doesn't. I would rather see what Rico Garcia has.
At this point in time, I'd rather have young guy that can that have projectability than like retread. I don't want
agree.
Even if you bring in somebody like a Hendricks or a Michael Kopech or something like that on a minor league deal to give your guys just a little bit more competition in spring training, I don't see the downside in that.
No, I don't. I mean, Hendricks, I don't know. How much did he pitch?
Not very much
in the last 3 years.
He did not pitch very much in 25. He didn't pitch at all in 24.
Yeah.
I don't know about 23 off the top of my head. But
Tyler and Taylor Rogers made a ton of sense also. I was bummed they
didn't. They did. And I mean, I talked about him last episode. Tyler Kinley. He signed with Atlanta for what, like $3 million? Like the Orioles couldn't have coughed up $3 million. Like
Pierce Johnson got like 2 years, $12 million.
Pierce Johnson would have been a nice addition.
And Pierce
Johnson would have been good.
4 years in a row with like a sub 3.5 ERA. Like he's just
solid. Suter just came off the market today, I think. That's like $1 or $2 million.
Yeah.
Like Jorge Lopez is still on the market.
No.
There it is.
Yeah.
It's very on brand.
But I mean, realistically, your bullpen right now is, I'm just looking at the roster right now. Your bullpen right now is Ryan Helsley, Andrew Kittredge.
I mean, I have it written down on my phone.
Like your bullpen is Helsley, Kittredge, Tyler Wells, Keegan Aiken, Dietrich Enns.
The guy
Rico
Diamond
Garcia,
Garcia, Colin Felby, Weld, Kittredge, Povich, and Aiken and Heldley.
Cano. I don't know
I
what
don't think-
happened to him last
And
year.
I think Andrew
and
made a really
like
good
maybe
point before.
Selby, maybe Wolfram. Like
Yeah,
maybe.
Is
maybe
Suarez
like
healthy?
I think so.
Florida never healthy.
Because I feel like didn't he come back and then he got hurt again in September?
I think he's good for opening day. I think that was a fairly minor injury.
I mean, we'll find out next week when spring training starts, and we have
Yeah.
inevitably 5 guys that are injured. Like,
You're right.
God, man.
we get the Rockabacco tweet about Kyle Bradish.
like, wasn't it? Yeah, wasn't it day one? Wasn't it day one that was like Bradish and Grayson are like screwed?
Yeah.
Like
Framber Valdez unloaded 111 mile an hour fastball in Tiger Camp. Kyle Bradish named Tommy John again.
Yeah.
yeah. It's like there's like Pierce Johnson's like throwing gas like over in Arizona, and it's like, by the way, Yanier Cano needs like internal bracing, and like Kittredge is going to be out till June.
I mean, I don't wish injuries on people, but like I would not be mad at a Cano injury. Could it just
okay?
It forces us
That's
not.
all right.
That's beside the point. That's beside the point. Like,
I do want to say though, I think Andrew made a really good point before, and I started thinking about this more because I think we've all kind of like penciled in Wells into the bullpen. But what if they don't add another starter and Eflin is hurt, and then they go with Wells in the rotation?
Would they go with Wells or would they pick Povich?
Well, maybe I don't know.
Maybe Povich,
but then your bullpen gets so much worse.
Wells was starting at the end of last year and pitching well, and I think they still see him as a starter.
I don't know that I like that very much.
I mean, Shane McDermott's still in the organization.
How?
I think he's officially a reliever now, though.
I mean, yeah.
Also, how?
He was a reliever, and he was like tearing up Norfolk for like a month and a half, and everyone's like, Shane McDermott's going to save this bullpen. And like the first game he came in Baltimore, he like gave up 4 runs in an inning and got down again.
Would they use Albert Suarez there? Like, I mean, if you need a swingman, that's what he was doing before.
You want to win World Series, you should not be having Albert Suarez starting game out of your opening day roster.
I just pulled up the current Norfolk roster right now. Ouch. Like that's why you need like bullpen guys, because like I don't want to be relying on like Enoli Paredes being called up in like June when somebody gets injured to like handle the 6th inning. Like I don't need to see that. Like I don't need to see Josh Walker.
All the names you picked out one person, and that one person is going to see this and like put it on top of his locker. I do not want to see it.
This is just like we were talking about last time with Leody Taveras and all the center field options with Justin. Like, they're going to see this and be like, yeah, I mean, if Enoli Paredes doesn't like me, well, like, oh no, whatever will I do?
Also, I'd be so honored if he was listening right now.
I know, seriously.
I mean, that'd be hilarious.
If he just had nothing better to do with himself and just listen to like some random
Orioles podcast on a Thursday night.
These 4 schmucks just like these 4 schmucks just talking about like.
Well, he probably thinking like, oh, I don't.
Just like that meme where the guy's like, me? Like, what are you saying me for? Like,
yeah.
Wait, it's like I'm so far down the depth chart. Like, I just want to listen to a podcast where I know I won't be mentioned. And
quick sidebar: that meme with the guy going me when Shams Charania broke the Anthony Davis trade yesterday. One of the funny memes I saw was the Wizards right now. Me?
I still can't believe they made that trade. I looked on my phone and I was genuinely so confused. I was like, "How? What are we doing, man?" But I'm fine with it. But
it's a good trade, but it is a good trade. So out of left field.
Yeah, it was.
Do we want to talk about the fact that we didn't get Framber Valdez?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So the Orioles did not get Framber Valdez, despite being linked to him all off season. I mean, 3 years, $150 million from the Tigers. They lost their compensatory pick, as we mentioned. Yeah, let's see. Good old Brian. That's great showbiz. Just reading off sidebar chat.
The reason
Anyway.
I said it was so we didn't have to say it in the actual stream. But yeah, why put it in the chat?
Michael, have you learned by now that I don't do things conventionally or well?
Oh, that's
But
true. Yeah, just ask your run.
Part of your charm, Cam.
well, I actually told my friend, I'm talking about, I think I'm going to do a podcast tonight. Usually the first 45 minutes are nice and productive, and then the last like hour, just everyone's shitting on me for my room. We made it to 50 minutes tonight, so I'm proud of us.
It's good. It's good work.
We'll get an update at the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lock back in.
That's
Framber
says it
Valdez,
all.
3
That's
years,
says
150
it all.
million with the Tigers. Orioles do not get him, even though we thought we would. I'm going to start with Andrew again. Reaction.
I was disappointed. I feel like the writing's been on the wall for the last couple of weeks because I think if he truly wanted to sign with the Orioles and the Orioles truly wanted him, it would have happened by now because starting pitchers have been coming off the board left and right. The Red Sox got Ranger Suarez. The Mets, made their trade for Peralta. It was a match made in heaven, and there was no reason why it shouldn't. And I'm not in love with Framber Valdez, the player. I think he's a good pitcher. Obviously, he has his issues with the in the clubhouse that were well documented. He was a good fit for what was left on the market for the Orioles, a left-hander to complement Trevor Rogers, lefty pitching in Camden Yards. I know they moved Baltimore in a little bit, but lefties, should still be attracted to pitching in Camden Yards. And it just kept not happening and not happening and not happening. I mean, there were funny memes and GIFs I was seeing all online where it's just people were just waiting another day without Valdez, another day without Valdez. And I was just like, it's not going to happen. And I think I even texted this group, like, some team is going to come out of nowhere and sign him. That's how it always happens. I mean, Arizona signed Corbin Burns out of nowhere. Teams just, when there's a long wait, and the prognosticators keep saying, "Oh, it'll be the Orioles. Oh, it'll be the Orioles." Chances are, it's going to be some team that no one's talked about. So, I was disappointed. I guess I was kind of prepared for it. It does certainly open up a lot of questions, like we were talking about in the last segment, with what if Zach Eflin's not ready to start the season? Is Tyler Wells your fifth starter? Are the Orioles really going to go into a big season for them after last year's debacle with Cade Povich, Brandon Young in the starting rotation? So there certainly creates a lot of question marks for the Orioles rotation. We can talk Zach Gallen, we can talk Justin Verlander, we can talk Lucas Giolito, maybe Gallen, but I don't know if those guys are enough of an upgrade that it's even necessarily worth it. I'd rather just spend the money on the bullpen. So I guess short and sweet answer is disappointed, but kind of saw it coming. I think Valdez would have been a really solid fit with this team. He's not some spectacular can't miss ace, but I think he really was what the Orioles needed. And the fact that the match didn't happen in December, frankly, or maybe the first half of January, to me did not bode well for it happening at any point.
Justin?
Yeah, I know it goes against the name of the podcast, but literally my exact thoughts that Andrew just said. Like, it just felt like the longer that went on, like I literally was just like, yeah, it's just not going to happen, and I messaged in the group chat after it happened. I was like, that's like the least surprising thing ever. And it wasn't that he signed with Detroit, but just that like it was some team out of left field that just randomly was not linked to him the entire offseason and then just waited until the right moment and went and got him. And I'm just frustrated because Mike Elias he's harped on this a lot, like how it's not a one-way street, right? Like the team's got to want a player and the player's got to want to come here and the money's got to line up, right? But it's like, how many times, like, are we like not going to have a good enough pitch for one of these top flight starting pitchers? Like, I'm just so sick of it, man. I'm so sick of being linked to these guys and not landing any of them. And like I'm sick of the fact that we missed out on Ranger Suarez and the Red Sox came in last second and got him. And I'm sick of the fact that Corbin Burns chose to go with the Diamondbacks rather than come back to the Orioles. And I mean, they lost out on Blake Snell last offseason, and it's like, it's so frustrating. And it felt like with Valdez, this was like the most obvious like time where it was like, okay, like this is like the most attainable starter they could get, right? Especially because we found out based off of the offers from Elias with other teams that or with other players, that he's willing to go the shorter term high AAV contracts. Like that's what he wanted to do with Burns. He wanted to go 4 years, 180 or something like that, rather than a 6-year deal. And Valdez, it was perfect. It was like he was falling down into that short-term high AAV contract, and it felt like, okay, like this is the guy they're gonna get. But as the days went on and it didn't happen, I started losing hope for sure. But yeah, I maybe this is a hot take, but I kind of think in some ways, like I like the offseason the Orioles have had. But I think it's like a little bit of an overrated offseason, to be honest with you. I think they've gotten a lot better, and I think the Pete Alonso home run or signing was a home run, no doubt. I think that was a game changer. But like they still have not they're showing a willingness to spend money, and they're still not substantially improving the starting pitching, and it's just so frustrating. Like I really like the upside of Shane Baz. That's great. Like but ultimately, this is a guy we traded 5 prospects for that had a 4.7 ERA last year. Like we don't know that he's going to be a top of the line rotation like start. And then Zach Eflin, it's like if he's on the field, great. But I mean, last year he was hurt, and when he pitched, he was like horrible. Like, and probably because he was hurt. So I don't know. Like I really think not getting a top flight starter has really soured me on this off season because it was so good at first, and I felt like they made all their moves with enough time that they could go get a Framber or a Ranger or, Mackenzie Gore was available before. And then we've just one by one seen all these guys come off the board. And now our best bet is maybe Zach Gallen. But like Andrew said, I really don't think Zach Gallen, like I think there's a chance Zach Gallen puts up a Dean Kramer like season because that's what he was last year. And it's like, I don't know. I just think it's incredibly frustrating. And I'm not going to, like, I hope we make a move. I still think Kobe Mayo doesn't really have a spot on this team. And I would like to see them cash in on his value and maybe land someone, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I kind of think that what we have now is what we're going to be running into spring training with and running into opening day with. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get to come back on here in a few days or a week or so and we're talking about some big trade that we made, or big signing we made. I just don't see it happening, though, honestly. And yeah, I think I'm disappointed. And the Framber Valdez signing with Detroit was like the cherry on top for me.
Mike?
Yeah, it wasn't great. I wasn't entirely surprised. I was kind of had the same opinion as Andrew, where like as days continued to go by, I was kind of like, it's becoming less and less likely. And I know Justin wasn't having a great day either because right after Valdez signed, Miguel Andujar came off the market as well. I know Justin wasn't too happy about that either, but
that's my guy, dude. He would have been so good.
Such an unfair day for you.
Yeah, but I wasn't too surprised about Valdez not landing in Baltimore because getting more into that short-term deal, higher AAV camp, that increases the chance that the Orioles are going to sign him, sure, but it also gives the other 29 teams in baseball just as much reason to go out there and sign him. Like, he went to the Tigers. Can you imagine if the Dodgers got him for that kind of deal? Like, the baseball world would be melting down right now. Like, I think the lockout would start like tomorrow. Like, never mind in 27. Like, I think it would start tomorrow. And so, yeah, I mean, all offseason, I've been the guy who's been, banging the drum for the bullpen upgrades. I kind of thought that's what they needed to prioritize over a starting pitcher anyway. But that being said, was definitely in on the idea of getting Framber Valdez. Like, that's still something that you can't pass up if you have the chance to go get somebody of his caliber. I wasn't too surprised. I hope with, not burning $38 million on him that they can go out and get a reliever or two in the bullpen, whether that's through trade or, picking up what's left of the scraps of the free agency pile as it comes to the bullpen. But in terms of Valdez, not super surprised, but yeah, still a little disappointed, a little starting depth, obviously starting pitching depth. Valdez is not just starting pitching depth, but another starting pitcher into that group would definitely have been really nice, especially one of that caliber.
I agree. Yep. I mean, same thought here. I really did want Framber Valdez, and I'm counting down. I'm just waiting for him to sign. And it's like I kind of just wanted closure on that. Like, whether he was coming to Baltimore or not. Like, I am glad that at least it's over, and we know for a fact that he's not coming. It's not better, but it's just like that little limbo we were in for like a month, where it's like we
It's
kept,
like you can kind of move on with your life now.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Don't have to check Twitter as often.
I was checking Twitter a ton when, like, in the last few weeks, just thinking of
Yeah.
Framber.
The trade
It's like
deadline.
I want to find out anyway. I don't know why I keep refreshing Twitter. Being the one that break the news to the group would have been fun. But anyway, I think I'm the one who broke the Pete Alonso news to the group. But anyway,
That might have been me.
whatever.
Take
It was
away
like
his moment, Mike. Don't do that.
it
You
was
saw how
the
happy he
it was
was, and you
the
just ruined it.
it was the adult content on my computer day. If y'all remember that conversation.
Yes, I do. I do
The
remember
way
that.
the way you like set that up just like sounded crazy though.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Well,
just
There's
heard
all that
adult
adult
content, and
content
I'm
on
like,
my
what?
computer.
Yeah. I heard adult content, and I'm like, what? But yeah, no, I remember now. I remember now.
But
Yeah.
regardless, it is disappointing. I think, like, signing Pete Alonso, and just compared to where we've been these last few offseasons, it's just such an out there move that the Orioles made. And it's like, I'm so happy that we made that move, and I feel like that move alone makes it an offseason that I'm happy with, because it's like, if we got nothing else accomplished, at least we showed we can spend money, and we did it on someone who I think has the chance to be a very, very, very good player for the Baltimore Orioles. So, like, I think that alone, and also the fact that we, at least to some extent, addressed some need, like, bullpen. We got Taylor Ward too, which, like, I think that's an underrated move. I think getting Taylor Ward will help our team out. But it's also just so clear that it's like the priority here, even when our needs are pitching, our priority has been adding to the offense. And, like, I don't hate the idea of having just like this offense with so much firepower that there are no weaknesses. Like, I love that idea. I'm a hitting guy. Like, that's how I consume baseball. I love good hitting. But I also consume baseball through wanting to watch my team win. And I think we sort of mentioned it, but Framber Valdez, if he signed with us, then, like, I think it would have made us at least a few wins better. And I think, based on the projections that someone sent to the group chat, like, within the week, I think it shows that every marginal upgrade we can get matters. I think the difference between, I don't know where we're going to end up, but, like, the difference between 88 and 90 win could be the difference between, being a 6 seed, having to travel to Boston for a series, and maybe, being that 3 seed, or not making the playoffs at all and being, like, a 4 seed. Like, I think 2 to 3 wins in a 162 game season could make such a huge difference. And I think any move we can makes that difference. And I think Framber Valdez, I know WAR, like, I don't think WAR's a perfect calculus. Like, you add someone with 3 WAR and drop someone with, like, 1.5. I think if you do that, you probably get more than 2 wins, just thinking about the way that, games go and stuff. But regardless, I'm disappointed. I know that Gallen's still out there. If we signed Gallen, I think I'd feel better about a rotation. But I do think the bullpen is a more pressing need right now. I just don't know what we're gonna do with our bullpen at this point.
I am happy that you brought up the idea of 2 to 3 wins over 162. Really meaning something, because like that can be used. Like if you go out and get somebody like a Justin Wilson or a Chafin or a Michael Kopech who are still available in free agency, and if those guys had 2 or 3 more wins, like Justin was talking about them being marginal upgrades at best. Like if that adds 2 or 3 more wins to your total, that's not nothing. Like, so I'm happy you brought that up. Like, that's why you need to bring in these guys for the bullpen, whether you sign them to like a 1-year major league deal worth like $2 million, or you bring them in as non-roster invites to spring training and they're competition for the guys you have. Like, there's zero downside in that, in my opinion. So I'm just using the point you made to further bolster my point, but I am happy that you brought that up, because I think it's good justification for trying to add whoever and whatever you can to a bullpen that I think needs it.
All right, Andrew said he has to go in a minute, so I will do the usual sign off for him. First off, we didn't get to talk about it, but you saw the list of guys that are going to be in the World Baseball Classic on the Orioles. I'm going to ask everyone this eventually, but the question I sort of came up with is, outside of Gunnar Henderson, which Oriole on a World Baseball Classic roster are you most excited to watch in the World Baseball Classic?
Well, my joke answer is Enrique Bradfield, because I think it's just kind of came out of left field for me, no pun intended, that he's on Panama. I think Dean Kramer for me being on Team Israel, just because I worry about how many innings he's going to throw. I mean, I don't know how far Team Israel is going to go. They have a decent team. They have Harrison Bader, some other major leaguers, but pitchers worry me more than hitters, because they could so badly want to compete for their team that they might ask to be overused or overpitched. Whereas Gunnar Henderson plays every day. Who cares? Like he's a shortstop. He plays every day. But I worry about pitchers. Rico Garcia also. I don't know how far his team's going to get, but if he winds up pitching multiple times more than he would have pitched otherwise, that could be a red flag. But super exciting time of the year for sports, with the World Baseball Classic, the Olympics right around the corner, spring training coming, the Super Bowl this weekend. Good luck to you, Mike. So just very excited for the WBC.
Yep.
And Israel is playing a loaded group with Venezuela, the DR, and the Netherlands. So they will be very lucky to get a win, but more just a participation trophy for those guys. So maybe Dean won't have to pitch too much after all.
Yeah. Any random Oriole you want to throw at us?
Well, you brought up Donnie Hart before we went on the air tonight, so that's definitely a nice random one. I'm always a fan of bringing up random relievers, and if you look back at the 1999 Orioles, when basically they redid their entire roster and brought in Albert Bell and Will Clark and Lionel Shields. They also redid their entire bullpen. So I'm just going to drop a few names that they signed from back then that for some reason have stuck with me over the years. Mike Timlin, Red Sox champion, was brought in as the closer. Xavier Hernandez, Ricky Bonas, Heathcliff Slocum were some of the other arms that they added that offseason. And just for some more fun food for thought, they also brought in Charles Johnson to catch that offseason. Jeff Conine was brought in. Rich Amaral was brought in to be a utility guy. Really, just Frank Wren just went scorched earth on the roster that had gotten them, back-to-back playoff appearances with Palmeiro and Alomar and all those guys, and just brought in a bunch of really interesting characters between Albert Bell and Delino DeShields was a bit of a malcontent. Will Clark, interesting guy. Mike Timlin, interesting guy. So looking back on the 99 offseason in those arms.
Hey, random relievers, pretty timely right now.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. We could use Mike Timlin right now. Would probably be the 6th or 7th best reliever in the pen right now.
Like prime Mike Timlin or like Mike Timlin right now?
The joke was right now Mike Timlin, but prime Mike Timlin would probably be like better than Gittridge. And
oh, nice.
Yeah. But best of luck to Kade Strowd. It's been real.
And you're welcome for ruining the joke, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I was really confused.
Classic Cam right there, man. God.
This guy Cam over here. What are you going to do?
He's a funny one.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, guys. Thanks.
See ya.
Talk soon.
All right. Yep. Well,
I had one thing I wanted to also bring up with Framber. Like, it also infuriates me so much seeing the AL East rivals get like the Red Sox getting Ranger and the Blue Jays getting Dylan Cease. And the Yankees rotation is still good. And no matter how much you want to love the idea of Shane Baz or get excited about Zach Eflin being back, it just does not compare to the other rotations in the AL East. It just doesn't. This is the toughest division, and just
not enough. I feel like it hasn't been discussed because he's going to miss maybe the first couple months of the season. Garrett Cole is going to be pitching games this year for the Yankees.
Garrett Cole's coming back, man. And they still have Max Fried, and they got Carlos Rodon, and they got Luis Gil, and Will Warren would be the third best starter in this rotation, man. Maybe not, but I don't know.
I think they're.
How about Orioles trade for Cam Schlittler tonight?
I forgot about Cam Schlittler, dude.
I wouldn't hate it.
He's disgusting.
I would like to forget about him, but
yeah, he's nasty. And then you look at the Red Sox, and it's they have Crochet, Ranger, Bayo, Oviedo,
Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray, Jesus Christ, man, it pisses me off. I'm
Sonny,
getting more
like
angry as I think about it.
Bayo and Oviedo are the Red Sox 4th and 5th starters.
Yeah, and
right
Bayo
now.
was awesome last year.
And Bayo was the 2 last year.
He's great. And then, okay, let's go through the Blue Jays rotation. So
Gausman, Cease,
Gausman,
Savage.
Who am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting someone. I'm forgetting a big name.
I'm looking.
Savage.
I know that they signed
Shane Bieber.
Oh my god.
And Jose Barrios.
They have Jose Barrios as like a 5-man if they won. They also signed Cody Ponce, who like dominated overseas.
KBO MVP, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was, and he started throwing like 98 or something. So like that's like a real arm coming over.
Yeah, but also, am I crazy for saying this? But I think you can make an argument the Orioles have the best lineup of the five teams.
I do agree with that. I think you can make an argument that it's the best lineup.
I think it's either them or Toronto.
I mean, Toronto lost Bo Bichette, so they have some holes.
Toronto, yeah, and they didn't get Tucker, and they didn't get Bregman. They got Okamoto, but like I kind of think the Yankees lineup's really freaking good still, man. I mean, like,
but even so, it's like they've been very top heavy with like Aaron Judge, obviously.
But now you got Ben Rice and you got Jazz Chisholm playing how they're playing.
Grisham
still Bellinger, Trent Grisham's still there.
Took the QO, yeah.
Yeah, but Grisham
they were kind of stupid to give him the
QO or whatever. But they were stupid to do that.
I mean,
even Justin talking about rotations, the Rays have Shane McClanahan, Ryan Pepio, and Drew Rasmussen. Like that's nothing.
No, it's nothing to scoff at. And you know the Rays. The Rays are going to be good, or they're going to be at least competitive. It's like that every year. So it just I think you can really dream on some of these scenarios for this Orioles team. I really do, but it still is just so if you get Framber Valdez, it's real. You know what I mean? It's real that this team is right up there. And now it kind of feels like us talking about the Orioles with the likes of the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Red Sox. It's like fan fiction. It's like no one actually believes this shit except for us. And it's just I don't know. It's just frustrating. I do think our lineup, you could argue, at least in terms of depth, could be the best in the AL East. But
this is kind of
point though. It's I don't think anyone really believed we competed in the AL East in 2023 either, and we had 101 wins.
True.
Well, sure, but you saw the signs from 2022 that there was going to be something there.
Yeah, and I also think it's different because that was their breakout year, and now we went 101 wins, then playoffs again, and then last place, and now we have to work our way back out of that. Everyone knows what we have here now.
On paper, looking at the roster, I think this roster is pretty it's very different in terms of personnel wise, but I think on paper this roster you can say it's just as good, if not better, than 2023.
Sure, but you had Gunnar, who had an MVP level season.
I think
Judge. You had Adley.
I think entering 2023, you were feeling a lot better about Adley Rutschman than you do entering 2026.
Fair, but I mean we have Batayo,
I agree with you, but I also think Toronto's better than they were then. Boston's better than they were then.
No, true.
Sure.
True.
By a lot.
No, I think my hope for this upcoming season is that I just want to be good. I want
the
team to,
man. I want to make the freaking playoffs. That's what I want.
Yeah, no, I want the team to be good. I want to look forward to watching games every night, which I didn't really have last year.
If the Orioles are playing meaningful baseball in September, I think that's all you can realistically ask for.
I don't want meaningful baseball in September. I want meaningful baseball in October, late October.
Well, yes, but if
I just don't want to be I don't want to be sellers again, at the deadline.
But realistically, Cam, if the Orioles were a game back of the wild card with 3 weeks left in the season, are you not taking that?
I guess if any scenario possible, yeah. I think just because I think the wild card's going to be so stacked that it's you can be. Like I think there's a possibility that a team missed the playoff with 89 wins this year in the AL,
Yeah.
especially in the AL East. I think
Absolutely.
The
AL East is back to being the AL Beast, I think, in my opinion.
And I think that's what makes it frustrating when we don't get Framber Valdez and we don't get, and we don't really improve our bullpen. I think it'll be fun watching this lineup. Like I genuinely am excited to see like what having a lineup with like Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westburg, Taylor Ward, Pete Alonso, Samuel Basayo, Dylan Beaver, Colton Cowser. What a fucking
as long as guys like striking out 7 bajillion times, I think they'll be fine. Like,
I think the crazy thing though is about this lineup. Like I was thinking about this the other day. I've gone this entire off season like barely thinking about the fact that like we have Sam Basayo in this lineup. We have Tyler O'Neill, who like Tyler O'Neill was bad last year, but like when he is healthy, he is a good hitter. Like he is a 30
he is a 30 home run player when he is healthy.
I mean, I said at the beginning of the episode, I have hope for Tyler O'Neill this year.
I do too. But it's crazy because like I mean Sam Basayo, like at one point like I forgot that he's going to be getting at bats in our DH spot, and it's because I was thinking about
which is also why it's ridiculous that Kobe Mayo and Ryan Mountcastle are.
Yes, it is ridiculous. The fact that they have not capitalized on Kobe Mayo yet is baffling to me. Like, and I'm kind of at the point now where like even if we do trade him for like a good reliever, like I'm kind of okay with it because otherwise he's just going to be rotting on the bench or in AAA. Like I get you might not be getting perfect value for him.
And say that until we get the Rockabacco tweet about Pete Alonso on March 7th.
Dude, imagine! Oh my God, I'd be so.
Cam,
don't say some shit like that. I don't know. I don't like that. But also, I wanted to bring this up earlier. This is going back a little bit to the Blaze Alexander thing. But I think it's so funny to me that like I think Cam mentioned it that like there are Orioles fans who are saying like us getting Blaze Alexander means that like Jackson Holiday or Jordan Westburg's being moved, and I'm like, it's like I feel like some fans, and every fan base has this, but like they just don't have their finger on the pulse of like anything, like at all. Like that's like not even Kobe Mayo is affected by this move.
That's like saying, oh, the Red Sox are going to trade Trevor Story now because they just signed Isaiah Kiner Falefa.
Yeah,
for
right. Like,
$6 million.
Well, IKF is going to cause us to move Marcelo Mayer or something. It's like,
no, I mean this move.
I did actually see that yesterday, and I lost brain cells.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean this move. I think for like we're fairly educated group of fans here. I know not to toot our own horn or whatever, but I think a lot of people who sort of maybe loosely follow the Orioles or just don't have like that great of an understanding of how things work or haven't, I think there is like this idea where it's like you traded for a shortstop, why would you do that? You have Gunnar Henderson. Like some people genuinely believe that. Like it's like the same thing as saying like being mad that the Hornets traded for Kobe White yesterday, even though they have LaMelo Ball.
Baseball also isn't like the NFL or like NBA where it's like you do actually have a minor league system where you can put guys. Mm-hmm. Like they don't have to be playing on the major league roster. Like
yeah, but in the case of Blaze Alexander, like if we traded away one of our key reliever plus 2 prospect for a guy that's going to start the season in AAA, like I don't want that. He
doesn't have options, which is interesting. So like he is locked into the opening day roster for sure.
Yeah. Lions must have seen something in Blaze Alexander that he really liked. I mean,
I kind of get it. I do think Blaze Alexander is like kind of weirdly like a high upside guy.
I mean, he was a really well-regarded prospect.
He was. Okay, I thought I remembered that, and I was trying to look at the previous MLB.com rankings, but I didn't see him that highly rated. But maybe I was looking too late.
I mean, he might not have been top 100, but I definitely remember hearing about him as a prospect. But I also think when you have the name Blade, that comes with it.
But last year he had a 1.7 WAR in 74 games.
Fangraph, reference. I mean, that's the first thing I thought when
That's got to be because of the defense, right?
Yeah.
Because the
I mean,
offense was not that
even
impressive.
then, I mean, that 162 average is what? That's like a 3.5 WAR season or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not nothing, you know.
no, it's not nothing at all. I mean, 4 WAR over a full season considered like all-star level.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and 3.5 is a lot of the time like the best defenders you're gonna see. Like that's like a Marcus Simeon. I don't know why I thought of Marcus Simeon, but like Marcus Simeon, even though he doesn't hit well anymore, like because he's insane defensively at second base, he still is gonna put up like 3.5 WAR every season.
What year was Marcus Simeon really good with that?
With the Blue Jays, well, he's had a lot of good years, but the Blue Jays,
like the one that like him break.
The Blue Jays 2020, that would have been 21 because that parlayed him into Texas in 22.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, imagine we're getting that version, like 21 Marcus Simeon to the roster.
Okay. All right. let's not get crazy now.
I mean, I think.
Wait, but then where's Jackson Holiday gonna play?
Jackson Holiday's getting traded for Scooble tonight, dude. It's happening.
I'd be okay.
Holiday, Mayo, and Mountcastle for Scooble. Buckle up.
I don't know if I would be okay with that, but now we're getting off the rails. I don't think I'd want to trade Jackson Holiday for 1 year of Scooble.
Yeah, I mean, because Scooble won its arbitration hearing, I agree.
It would be kind of fun though. I'm not gonna lie. I would. Oh my god, that'd be so sick.
Anyway,
Anyway.
So I do want to talk about the World Baseball Classic. I'll ask the same question. But just for our listener singular, name to the
Tinoli Paredes.
Name to the World Baseball Classic, according to Jake Rill of MLB.com, that are currently in the Orioles system in some form. You have left-handed pitcher Micah Ashman of Canada, outfielder Enrique Bradfield Jr. going to Panama, left-handed pitcher Nikel Cruz playing for Cuba, right-handed pitcher Jose Espada and Rico Garcia for Puerto Rico, infielder Gunnar Henderson for the U.S., right-handed pitcher Dean Kramer for Israel, right-handed pitcher Ryan Long for Great Britain, outfielder Tyler O'Neill for Canada, and infielder Luis Vazquez for Puerto Rico. So I'll ask the same question. I'll start with Justin. Outside of Gunnar Henderson, because that's the obvious answer, which current Oriole that I just listed are you most excited to watch in the World Baseball Classic?
I'll say Ryan Long, because that's my brother's name, which is kind of weird. But now,
is your brother pitching in the WBC, Justin?
He is, yeah. I forgot to tell you guys. It's crazy. Honestly, like, I don't really care other than Gunnar, but I'm really excited to watch Gunnar with Team USA. I'm going to be locked into every Team USA game for sure. But you know, I think Kramer is kind of fun, especially because, like, I haven't seen their entire roster. I know they do have some good players, but he's got to be one of the more established. Oh, actually, here's Israel's team right now. He's got to be one of the more established guys on that roster, right?
They have Orioles legend Matt Bowman.
I mean, they do have some major leaguers, but out of the starters, he's the only guy I recognize. So, yeah, I think it is kind of cool with Kramer.
You mean Robert Stock doesn't do much for you?
Robert Stock doesn't move me, man. He really doesn't move the needle for me. But, yeah, so I don't know. I'll say Dean Kramer because it's kind of cool seeing one of our guys, like represent, you know, a whole country.
Well, I would argue he's representing a religion more than a country, but regardless.
Okay, all right. Well,
dub that out. Big night for Charlotte sports, by the way. Hornets just won their 8th in a row. Luke Kuechly just got elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Tedrow McMillan, AP Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Ted got caught saying the N-word on camera. Did you see that?
I did.
And he had to apologize for it.
He apologized.
Great night for Charlotte, right? Isn't that right, Cam?
An 8-game win streak for our NBA team. The linebacker that I grew up watching and loving getting elected to the Hall of Fame to fight like a 5-year career.
Luke Kuechly got snubbed last year. He should have been first ballot, I think.
Yeah, but he only played for 8 years, actually. So
insane. No. He was so good.
I love Luke Kuechly. Trust me, my childhood right there. But anyway,
why is Mike making a face?
I was going to give my WBC thoughts.
No, we were talking about Luke Kuechly, bro.
And then Cam just went on about Charlotte sports. I mean, you were talking about Kuechly should have been a first ballot. Bill Belichick, I mean, come on. But
I don't.
In terms of WBC, I am excited to watch Tyler O'Neill for Canada. because I know I was talking about this with Cam before anybody else got on. Canada's roster is like low key not that bad. Like Canada, and especially the group they're in a group with Puerto Rico, Colombia, Cuba, and Panama. There's 4 groups, so I believe 2 teams advance out of each. Canada is should advance out of that group. Like, realistically, it should be them and Puerto Rico. Like they don't have a bad team at all. Like Cal Quantrill's there, James Paxton's there, Mike Soroka, Logan Allen, Jamison Tyone, a lesser known name, Adam Macko pitched for the Blue Jays, I believe. They have major league pitchers on that team, and they have the Naylor brothers, Eddie Julian, Abraham Toro. Their outfield is going to be Owen Casey, O'Neill, and Denzel Clark, which is going to be with Denzel Clark in center field. You're going to see some really good defense over there. So they like that team, and Justin Morneau being their hitting coach as well, and Paul Quantrill being their pitching coach. That's going to be a sneaky, like, probably going to be a fun team to watch, even without Freddie Freeman in the picture. So I am excited to see Tyler O'Neill. He's going to be playing every day in that outfield, because the other options, Jared Young, who's a utility player, and Jacob Robson, who I've never heard of, like those guys are not going to be playing very much at all, I don't think. So in an everyday role for that outfield, Tyler O'Neill, obviously you're going to be hoping he doesn't get hurt, but that's something. Tyler O'Neill's somebody I'm really excited to see. Kramer as well. And even Rico Garcia, I'm going to be watching Puerto Rico's games just because, he's also going to be an important piece to this bullpen, even more so with Kade Strowd being gone.
Is that Jacob Young, like the Nationals Jacob Young?
This is Jared Young.
Jared Young and Jacob, you said Jacob Robson or something.
Jacob Robson, yeah.
Okay.
Jared Young played for the Mets last year in 23 games.
Okay. I thought you said, I was going to say, oh, wait, that's actually insane outfield defense then. Jacob Young and Clark would be crazy in the same outfield.
Yeah, you have Casey, like O'Neill realistically would play left. O'Neill and Casey would be in the corners, whichever one, and then Clark would be down the middle. Like, that's not bad at all. That's not a bad outfield alignment at all.
Not.
Still nothing compared to some other teams out there, but it's not a bad lineup at all.
Yeah. So I think my answer, that's going to be my actual answer. Andrew did it with a joke answer, but that's my actual answer to Enrique Bradfield Jr. I think a lot of the guys that we're seeing here, we've seen them before at the major league level. We know what they are, and, it's cool, obviously, to see guys that are like Dean Kramer. I agree. Like, I think it's cool seeing a guy who's been around for a while pitching on a more amplified stage than normal. Dean Kramer was on the Israel team in the last World Baseball Classic, too. And he, played a fairly big role, because he was on the Orioles for about, 3 or 4 years, even at that point. And, obviously, Gunnar, that's going to be super fun to watch. But Enrique Bradfield Jr., for one, he is an electric player. Great center field defense, great speed, and I feel like on a stage like the World Baseball Classic, that'll play. Just having him go out there, maybe make a highlight reel catch for Panama, maybe, draw a walk and steal second base and then steal third base. And also, we just haven't seen him for the Orioles yet. Someone mentioned, I don't know if it was when we were recording or not, I think it was before we started recording, but someone mentioned that Enrique Bradfield probably would be better off, like, I don't know if it's that better off, but, like, he would rather be getting spring training at bat, trying to prove his worth.
I think that was Andrew.
Yeah, I think it was too. I would argue that this is a better opportunity for him, honestly. You get the opportunity to play in front of, who knows what kind of crowd you're going. Did anyone know off the top of their head which pool Panama is in? Who is in their pool with them?
So Panama's in the pool with Canada and Puerto Rico, so they're not going to be making it out of group play.
But even so, when they're playing. Sorry, one more question for you. Is that going to be in Puerto Rico? Like, is that the one?
Yes, they are in the Puerto Rico pool. Yeah, it's going to be in San Juan.
Sorry. But yeah, no, like, I imagine when Panama played Puerto Rico in San Juan, like, that, that's going to be an atmosphere. Like, that ain't going to be an electric place to play, and I think you should get if you're Bradfield, you get so much more out of that than playing in front of a crowd of like 1,000, 2,000 people at Ed Smith Stadium. I think just playing in an atmosphere where the Puerto Rico fans are going to be nuts. Like I imagine them hosting a World Baseball Classic for the first time ever. Like those locals are going to be nuts. They're going to be crazy. I think it's going to be awesome. That Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, get to host a World Baseball Classic at some point. Because I've mentioned it before. I've been down to the Dominican Republic. I've watched some of those games down in Santo Domingo. They have the stadium that's definitely big enough for it. It's a big stadium, and the Dominicans love their baseball. Same with the Puerto Ricans. I just think that's going to be a great atmosphere. And I think, as I said, for Bradfield specifically, he'll be playing on a team, not a ton of star power. So I think this is just an opportunity for Bradfield before making a big league debut to show off on a big stage. And I hope that he gets the opportunity to really play well. I think it'd be cool to see him, as I said, make some, just get some base hits and steal second base, steal third base, play good center field defense. I think, he played at Vanderbilt, so he's not a stranger to, playing on big stages. I'm pretty sure he was in the College World Series at Vanderbilt, which obviously that's a big stage in itself. But yeah, no, I'm excited to watch Enrique Bradfield. I think of the guy, I think this time next year, obviously Gunnar Henderson should still be around. Tyler O'Neill, because he's on contract, should still be around.
Hope Gunnar Henderson is still around.
I don't know. Maybe we trade him for a reliever to replace Kade Strowd.
Skubal, because they signed Blaze Alexander.
That's what's going to happen. We got our new starting shortstop. You move Skubal you move Gunnar for Skubal and Gleyber Torres, and then you call it a day. It's going to be great.
I just looked at the Twitter bio for our page, and it still said we're the unofficial fan page for Little Slay. I should probably change that.
Yeah, change that. I never was a big
Should change it to
Leody
Taveras.
Or Blaze Alexander.
I feel like
Inoli Paredes, maybe.
Who is someone that's not a big name that our group chat. See, Kade Strowd would have been fucking
Terran Vavra. Terran Vavra.
Yeah,
Terran Vavra's actually not on the list. Is he still in the organization? I thought he was.
I believe so.
Maybe Jake Rill missed him.
Let me double check, but
where did he end?
Yeah, he's playing for the Czechs. He's playing alongside electricians and all that. No, he is a free agent.
Oh.
He is a free agent.
Dude, okay, so who's someone that is universally liked by our group chat?
Bummer. Pete Alonso.
Now Pete Alonso. I fucking love him.
Yeah.
Who is
maybe Jordan Westberg?
Westy's good, but it's got to be more niche than Westy.
Yeah. Dietrich Enns.
Yeah, Dietrich Enns isn't bad. I'm trying to think of someone offensively.
Offensively, you've got.
I know he's no longer an Oriole, but Alec Jackson. I really like
Alex
him.
Jackson.
Yeah.
I like the fan.
Taylor Ward. I feel like we all.
But again, not niche. Taylor Ward.
Yeah, it's not. There's not a good niche one, man.
Not on the hitting side.
Jeremiah Jackson, is that like a niche one? Jeremiah Jackson.
Yeah.
I feel like he'd be more niche if he didn't tear up the big league. Not tear up, you know what I mean?
I'm a little
iffy on
Sam
Basayo?
Jackson. I really think we're gonna get a whole lot of nothing from Jeremiah.
Oh, I completely agree.
Okay, good.
We're at the hour 40 mark. I don't want to go into a 20-minute discussion on Jeremiah Jackson.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
David, I think next episode we're going to do a spring training preview, pitcher and catcher report kind of thing.
Do you guys have, while we're talking about the World Baseball Classic, do you guys have BBC predictions? Anything like that? Teams you could see, teams you really like? Or?
Let me look through the rosters again.
Because I think I can give you, just because I'm looking at it, I will give you a prediction right now of the two teams I think that are going to come out of each group. Okay. Just because I'm looking at it right now.
All right, let's hear it.
So start with Pool A in San Juan. I think that's going to be Canada and Puerto Rico are going to come out on top in that one.
As I said before we started recording, the 2 American territories right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
51st state. I think Pool B is going to be in Houston. That features Brazil, Great Britain, Italy, Mexico, and the U.S. I think it's going to be Mexico and the U.S. who come out of that group. I think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be any kind of competition from the other 3.
I think
Pool C in
Italy and
Tokyo.
Great Britain, I think, could be packy, but I don't think they're going to come out. But I think
They're
not going to knock
guys
off
there, man. I'm looking at their
but they're
roster
not
right now.
But can you see them outlasting Mexico and the U.S.? I don't think so.
baseball's
No,
weird.
no,
Sometimes
If they were in Group A, I think you could make a case for that. But
yeah.
Group C is in Tokyo, and that's Japan, Korea, Australia, Chinese Taipei, and Czechia.
Yeah,
that
Japan,
one gets interesting because obviously Japan is going to come out of there. I think that's pretty easy.
I think Japan's getting bounced round 1.
You think so?
Yeah, they got that overrated bum Shohei Ohtani, man.
Yeah, but after that, I mean, Australia and Czechia, I think, is kind of a toss-up. Like, Australia has Travis Bazana, Curtis Mead, and really not much else. Like, the pitchers aren't anything crazy. Czechia has Karen Vavra, and just looking at the roster, they don't have any other guys who've played in the major leagues. Like, and I don't know, like Chinese Taipei, looking at that roster, like there's really nothing. Yu Chang, he was a 2023 WBC legend. Stuart Fairchild, is somehow eligible for that team.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how. And then looking at Korea, okay, this is ridiculous. How is Dane Dunning eligible to pitch for Korea?
How is Bill O'Brien or whatever his name is?
Dude, Austin Wells is playing for the DR.
Yeah.
That's the funniest one.
Like,
look at
Korea,
the Dominican Republic's team, and then you just got fucking Austin Wells. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
My favorite one was for China, not Chinese Taipei, but China. Like the last World Baseball Classic, it was a bunch of oh god, I don't want to sound.
It was weird, but okay. Actually,
of,
looking
Chinese
at
names in a list, and then there was one player named Alex Smith or something, the most generic American name possible.
Okay. Now that I will say though, now that I'm looking at the Korea roster, I think they're going to be the second team that comes out of that group because they have Jemai Jones, Jung-Hoo Lee, Haesung Kim, Hyunjin Ryu, Dane Dunning, and Woo Suk Go. So I think it's going to be Japan and Korea that come out of Pool C.
Dude, I love Woo Suk Go. I fucking
that's my guy right there.
That's my guy. Shout out.
Yeah, and then Pool D, which is in Miami, that is the most loaded group in my opinion. You have the DR, Israel, Netherlands, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. I think, Netherlands is going to put up a fight. Netherlands is going to be really good. Israel can win a game or two there too, but with those teams, like if they were in Pool A or Pool C, I would have more confidence. But if you're in DR and Venezuela, I'm sorry, those are the 2 teams that are coming out of that are coming out of that group.
All right.
Those teams are just too good.
All right. Now
Venezuela in particular.
Now that we've hit the hour 46. Strong with Paul Janisch.
Do you actually know who Paul Janisch is, or did you just look that up?
Simply no way.
Do I know who Paul Janisch is?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. He was a infield. Yeah, I feel like you would know him. He was an infielder. He was a utility guy back in the mid 2010s, toward that stretch when we were good between 2012 2016. He was a utility guy after Ryan Flaherty got hurt one year. So he kind of Ryan Flaherty backup.
Sure.
Backup to the back.
I just looked up his picture. I do recognize this guy. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I wasn't being random enough with Paul Janisch, to be quite honest with you.
I have one because I'm seeing spring training pictures of this guy, and so I'm going to bring up a guy who is only here in spring training, and there's some lore to it. I was excited about him because he was coming off of a Gold Glove season, but he couldn't hit at all, and we signed him and then cut him.
Sounds like Jorge Mateo.
No, Yolmer Sanchez. You guys remember Yolmer Sanchez?
Boston Red Sox legend Yolmer
He was
Sanchez.
a Boston
I
Red.
do remember.
He was. I remember him with the.
For a very brief time.
I remember him with the White Sox.
He was not any good with the Red Sox, but he played for the team. Played 14 games for them in 2022. Had 4 hits and
Yeah, that was like
44 play appearances.
the dark era of the Orioles. Like that was like 2019 or something, and I just remember like it was like the only move we made in the offseason.
Well, he played
I was like,
149 games for the White Sox in 2019, so couldn't have
Okay,
been that.
2020,
Yolmer
2021.
Sanchez?
Find this.
He didn't play at all in the majors in 2021.
Okay, but
He played
was on the
11
spring
games in
training
2020.
roster.
Yeah, he
He
played
didn't
11
play
games
in the
2020.
majors with the Orioles, but he was just on the spring training roster. So that's my pick.
Yeah. Well, I saw Cam talking about this guy in the group chat earlier when we were talking about moving up the start time. Wei-Yin Chen. That's my pick.
I remember Wei-Yin Chen way too well, though. Like, I remember watching Wei-Yin Chen pitch in
Career 3.7 ERA in 117 starts.
He was a dog with us, and then he went to Miami.
He was a
and was
dog.
horrible. He was so good. Yeah, he was genuinely really good.
innings. Had a 1.25 whip in that time
All
as
right,
well.
so Mike is going with Wei-Yin Chen. I'm going with Paul Yanish. Justin is going with Yolmer Sanchez, and Andrew went with the entire 1999 bullpen. Thank you, everyone, for listening to. If you've made it that far, email Mike at MikeyNadge@Suffolk.edu your favorite anime show. If you made it that far, do that, and we will know you're a true fan.
Totally valid email address. Email that immediately.
All right.
Do not it in my DMs, please.
Thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time on Constant Disagreement.